All right, everybody. So I'm excited to be bringing on our next guest presenter here. And this is Zalah. I worked with Zalah a couple times, which pull up his bio. So Zalah is a businessman, entrepreneur, author, father, grandfather. He was tired of selling his soul for the corporate goal, and he started the Center for Transformation, known as CFT, in Calgary. And he's been teaching for over 20 years. Through a series of teachings and events, Zalah helps his students find the magic in their lives again. We're living in interesting times, and the teachings that Zalah teaches help people make sense of their life dynamics and make the most out of life. He has been on a number of talk shows this year and before, of course, and you can listen to some of his talks at thecft.ca. Good to see you, brother. How you been?
Hey, Neil. If I was any better, I'd be twins.
Well, thank you for being here, brother. I really appreciate you, man. It's all yours. Take it away.
Okay, so how long do I have?
Well, let me check for you.
Okay.
All right, you have Zalah here. Okay, you have 45 minutes.
Okay, can I just start with the teaching today?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, great. Hello, my name is Zalah. I am Zalah. I'm located in Calgary, Canada at the cft.ca. All right, I urge you to go on the website. We're the only website around that teaches electronically through electronic courses. We can teach you for a year. We've got 3 courses lined up that you can purchase that are put together by myself as one facilitator. And we've got 2 certified consciousness coaches teaching Spiritual Awakening number 1 and Spiritual Awakening number 2. Both these coaches are about 20 years, not quite 20 years. One's more than 20 years and one's less. So it's probably an average of 20 years being a student, and they're still learning new stuff. We teach at the CFT everything from basic spirituality right through to quantum physics. We hold retreats. And so they were a little light on retreats during COVID, but soon we'll re-engage them again. And so today, let's talk about the observer. You know, genius occurs by being the observer, which is a very difficult thing when you're in the sea of duality. And we're all in the sea of duality. And it's very, very difficult to be just the observer. Why do we want to be the observer? Well, first off, God is the original observer. Original observer, really is. The other dynamic is that as you learn to be the observer in this sea of polarity, you'll soon learn that my phrase on this is consciousness is my server as long as I am the observer. Yeah. But the illusion is all about being engaged, immersed, getting attached, then desiring a new reality. And in order to create a new reality, a new manifest, you got to first set the intention. Second, set the desire. And third, you manifest by being detached. Detached means the observer. Ultimately, this is where the fruit of your consciousness is. All right. This is where the fruit of your fertile imagination is, by being the observer. Just remember, consciousness is my server as long as I am the observer, and you'll be away. The other master's rule that very, very few know is this: you can have the matter when it does not matter. That's right. You know, when you just say, okay, it doesn't matter. And then poof, something happens. Why is life set up that way? Well, it's set up that way because your priority of being attached should be so to divine, your oversoul, the great self. All right? If you're attached here in the face of this sea of duality, you've got a whole bunch of wind then under your wings. This is the trick to getting a fertile imagination. All masters know about the prima materia. You heard me right. The prima materia. That's a fertile imagination. Could you imagine having an optimized fertile imagination before you had focus? Well, if you didn't have focus, then and you had a fertile imagination, it wouldn't be so good because everything you'd fear would come to be. That's right. And you'd say to me, can I go back to the way that it was? I had some buffer time on my imagination. Now I don't have, and it's hell. I say, I can help you with a lot of things, but I can't help you with that. And so typically there's a safeguard in place before you do get the primary material. And that is you get to practice. You get to have this knowledge taught by a true teacher, a maestro, who will teach you that you must have focus. You get focus by getting above and beyond what it is that pulls you apart in duality, that has you going back and forth, that has your emotions spinning the wrong way. You must detach by understanding this priority of putting your God first. You must put your God first. If you were a child and you were my child, I'd train you over and over and over and over and over again. I'd just say, listen to me, honey. The inside world is more important than the outside world of man-made stuff. Now repeat after me. The inside world is more important than the outside world of man-made stuff. And then I'd expand. The mountains are not man-made. The trees, the sky, the stars, the sun, the moon, the stars. Yes, all that. The earth, the dirt. That's right. And so get out in nature, because nature is the answer as you get older. The inside world is more important than the outside world of man-made stuff. So again, you must detach in the sea of duality by understanding the priority that you came here was to put spirit first, put God first, put love first. Master's law. Love first, will second. Love first, will second in duality, in the illusion. Rate yourself. How you doing with love first, will second? It's one of the values that I taught my grandchildren. Love first, will second. When you see somebody that's not being love or doing love, you should look them right in the eyes, even if they're an adult. And you should say, that's not love. And then just be quiet, honey. So they tried that with stunning results, especially with their mother. I think she's still mad at me. But when you love, you're being one. You know that vitamin B1? There's a vitamin B1. There's vitamin B2, B6, B12. Well, how about the life vitamin of B1? So that you're being one with all of life. Can you expand your capacity large enough so that you be one with all of life? You know, what I teach is practical spirituality. Practical. It's not very woo-woo. If you come to me, it's pretty hardcore and pretty practical. And so you can join our classes every Friday morning. All you have to do is sign up at the CFT. We have free classes, and you get a real good taste of me. And you have to get up early because it's 6:45 Mountain Time, 6:45 a.m. You can join quite a few people that come and just listen for different ideas, different spiritual methods. All right. So it's all about ultimately you becoming one with your God, with spirit. Love first, will second, and everything you do will do the trick. Now, once you manifest what you wanted and are enjoying, would you be owned by it? 99% of humans, I'm going to say, once they really get what they want, they get that woman that they want, they get that man that they want, you know what? They start to look for what's wrong. They do. And next thing you know, they're owned by the thing that they manifested. Right? Typically in arrangements where people get what they want too easy, they don't respect it very long at all. Familiarity breeds complacency, you know. And then ultimately, it breeds contempt, if you could imagine. Could you imagine? Breeds contempt. In other words, this is what's wrong with this person. This is what's wrong with life. This is what's wrong. And you know what? Next thing you know, it's gone because your gratitude is gone. So take B1 as a vitamin, life vitamin, which is being at one. There's a word about this that's supposed to wake us up. It's called being at one meant. Atonement? That's right. Most people don't understand what atonement means. It's at one meant. B1 is the best life vitamin and consciousness transformer that you could possibly have. That's right. But again, the ultimate here is to have an optimized, fertile imagination. It's like Jesus said, what I can do, you can do also and more. How did that happen? Well, it happens that you got to be in these upper four centers. I call them seals. I don't call them chakras. A chakra is an open seal. The first seal came sealed on a woman as a little string across it called Hi Man, ironically. And once that's open, it opens up the second seal, it opens up the third seal. And very few people in humanity get into the fourth seal on a permanent basis. There's a granite slab between the third and the fourth. You have to leave the duality behind. You have to be complete with the duality of the first three centers. So you're either coming from the bottom three or you're coming from the top four. Rolls off the tongue easy. Rolls off the tongue real easy. You're either going to be the son of man, i.e., or the woman of man, bottom three seals, or you're going to be the son of God, or the daughter of God, top four seals. So in life, depends on where you're coming from. So the dynamics of the properties of each one of these centers is what I teach, and what you're going to have to get past, and what you're going to have to enjoy and focus on. We spend our whole life, working here, head down, bum up, worrying about all issues in duality. We do. We don't spend enough time focusing on our breath, focusing on our alignment with our divine until we're about to leave the planet. Could you imagine that day, leaving the planet? Thinking about your life, reviewing it. Chances are you didn't get out of the bottom three. All issues of duality. When you look at the issues, the issue is you. Issue is you. Yeah. Because the one thing that was common, in commonplace with all those issues, was you. You got caught there. Who's right? Who's wrong? Well, if you're going to get above those, you've got to decide to do what's right, not who's right. And love is always what's right. Now, this starts with the realization of the necessity of simultaneous polarities and understanding the purpose of each. In the atom, you have simultaneous polarities, the positive and the negative. That's right. They're going around. The electrons going around the center. You got the positron here in the middle, along with the neutron. You got the electron over here. Smallest thing we know, largest. Atom, universe. Irony? I don't think so. So in the center, there's the light, eh? Exactly. And so you got the positive and the negative, starting with atoms. In your life, there has to be positive and negative occurring at the same time. You look all over the planet. You got excess rain over here, and you got excess fire over here, excess snow here, and excess heat over here. Anyways, there's always simultaneous polarities going on around the world and in your life. Excuse me. And in your life as well. You just have to realize and smile that there's simultaneous polarities. There's a lot of good happening, but why is it so that we're built to focus on what's not good? That's very, very interesting. Because it's the simultaneous polarities. As you start to respect that, the fertility of your imagination starts to come to be. It doesn't sputter anymore. It starts to come to be. The biggest problem is you're disturbed. Most of the people come to me, they're disturbed. They're emotionally upset about something. It's a clinical term. Excuse me, it's a clinical term. Doesn't sound so good when you say the person's emotionally disturbed. Ooh, that usually has a real charge to it. But most people I know are emotionally disturbed about something. Am I perfect? No. God, no. It's part of fighting the good fight, you know. And then fighting the good fight is to be able to rise above the fight to your spiritual connection before the last days come. Because in the last days, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. Especially if you get to the point where you go, I knew better. I mean, what if my whole life had been a mistake? Oh my God. I put the illusion first all the time. How much time did I spend? Did I devote one day to God? You know, if you lived 100 days, 36,500 days, you get to the other half of the sky, and Spirit says, well, did you give me one day so you and I could talk? To push the refresh button? One day in silence. One day out of 36,500, because you live to be 100. And most people would have to say, no, I didn't give one day. That's really something to think about. But let's come on back to earth here. It all starts with the atom, you know. Both charges are necessary in the atom to form matter. But you're not going to be able to materialize and form matter until you're at peace. Because forming of matter means the fertility of the imagination comes to be from spirit to matter. How's that possible? That someone could drag that energy through 7 levels of consciousness, the electromagnetic spectrum. Who knows how to do this? Who does? Right. And even when you know how to do it, you know what? If you're disturbed, it doesn't happen. You have to be at peace. Jesus was known as the Prince of Peace for a reason. You must be at peace and you must be worthy. But those two are kind of bedfellows, because if you're not worthy, it's tough to be at peace. You know, you can't just PRAY on Sunday and then the rest of the week PREY. No, that's not how life works. No. You must be at peace. And peace is love, love is peace, worthiness. You must understand equilibrium, understanding how everything is actually perfect in balance or is in the process of balancing. You must understand that. So if you get caught in something and you're really upset, you're in the process of balancing. It's a matter of how long that process takes, but that's going to determine you as to how you look at it. Could you look at it that it was necessary for you to find out who you are but who you're not? Chances are yes. To not put more of your energy, your life's energy, on one side or the other. It's a death trap. You must not be positive and negative all the time, because before you know it, you're at the end of time. You're out of time. And time is your most valuable asset. Time is your most valuable asset. When will you realize that? Are you spending your time or are you investing it? That's the question. Spending does not pay dividends. Investing does. Who and what are you spending your time on that you're going to just leave behind? There's food for thought here. It's a death trap. Look at the word time. It actually is 2 words, timey. Wow, eh? Timey. That's what you're doing. You're tying yourself to something that you really don't want to do. You know, seriously. You don't want to do it. You don't enlighten yourself, you know. You can't do that. No, 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 no. You get the wrong idea. You can't enlighten yourself. Yourself, the greater self. No, the greater self can enlighten you. If, as, and when you're ready to own what the great self has put in front of you to own, you got to be able to do that sacredly, humbly, in gratitude for your life and what your God has put you through, has brought to you currently. You got to remember your God doesn't make mistakes. So if you don't like it, if you're uncomfortable, why don't you create your way out of it? Well, how do you create your way out of it? Well, we go back to the start of the lesson. By being the observer, that's how. Now, if you don't want to be the observer, which is the upper four energy centers, then please enjoy your struggle. Enjoy. Struggling is part of the way, you know. Suffering, though, is optional. Suffering is what you complain about. Suffering is what you build your dramas around, and you continue to suffer. Don't. Be free. Can you be free? Can you get peace in the middle of the storm? You have to understand that peace comes within. You have to get clear of the gunk that surrounded you. It surrounds you in your spiritual body. You have layers here of your spiritual body. I teach about these layers ad nauseum, very, very, very deeply. And how to clean them, how to clear them, because they're permeated with dualistic illusion issues. And remember, the issue is you. It's what you put your attention on. You meet a true teacher, a TT, they'll teach you about peace. Because peace, love, trigger a fertile imagination. Imagine having a fertile imagination because you had focus. You'd focus only on what you do want. Why? Because your focus is not disturbed by what happened back there or is happening right now. It's not disturbed by that. You have focus where you can hold one thought of one thing for a minute or two. Purely a minute or two. Not all the combinations and permutations thereof, but a minute or two. Typically, you get beyond your past and what it is that you need to own. You need to understand you can't have a better past. You cannot have a better past. Past is the past. Those who don't get past their past, they PASS. Those who don't get past their past, they PASS. So this is what life is really about. It's a journey. It's not a destination. Most never, ever, ever get this. Oh, they hear the words, but they don't really get it. Even if they're a student of consciousness for a long, long time, they don't get it. You have to learn to enjoy the way. Will you fall off those train tracks? Yes. Have I fallen off of them? Yes. It's really practical spirituality that matters. But if you understand what you need to understand by way of the fact that you're going to enjoy the way, you need to enjoy and understand that there is no way to happiness. There's no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. Now, there's a bit of a mind bend here. Happiness is the way. What does that mean? Well, let's just say you're on Fifth Avenue in New York and you're asking somebody, hey, how do you get to Fifth Avenue? They say, this is Fifth Avenue. Well, it's the same thing here with happiness. Doesn't matter what you're going through, you should be happy about it. You know why? Because you're alive. And the more you're happy about what you're going through that disturbs you because you can see the purpose in it, you start to get happy. Then you'll break out because you're in gratitude. You cannot have happiness without gratitude. You can't. You got to be happy for what you're going through, believe it or not. You got to be grateful. You have to be. If you only knew how many times I went out and talked to the night sky and said thank you with a question mark based on what I was going through, I mean, you'd laugh. Go out there and go, thank you. It's humbling. It is humbling, but it helps if you've got some humor, some laughter. I mean, it really, really does. If you got laughter, that's key. And just loving your life. Those are the moments you're going to look back at when your life is over and you're out of here, you know? That is. And you know what? It starts to then come together. It's almost like the serial art. Serial art is the art that you used to buy on calendars in the malls. You know, where they showed you a calendar and it had a whole bunch of squiggly lines on the surface. And the salesman said, keep looking at the squiggly lines, but if you can, look beyond it. And so you look beyond it and you see this shark and you see the reefs and you see all these little fishes under the water and you go, oh my God. Well, most people come to me. Let's just imagine that I pulled Cro-Magnon from a million years ago, right here in this time. And I show him this squiggly art. And he says, first off, I'm so amazed with the squiggly art. I mean, my God, who did this? Such synchronicity, such good measurement, such incredible precision. And I say, that's the point. You can either stop here or you can try and see beyond it. Who wants to see beyond it? This is such fascinating art. And I say, I know, but if you can look beyond it, there's actually a shark underwater and coral reefs and fish, and there's a whole bunch of starfish, and this guy can't get past the surface because he's so amazed compared to cave art. What this was. Well, that's what the teaching is like. The teaching I teach leads more to Buddhism. Again, Buddhism is not a religion, it's a way of life. But the teaching itself is the truth teaching. It's not religious. Do I believe in Christ? Oh, God, yes. Do I idealize Christ? Oh, God, yes. Do I love Christ? Oh, God, yes. I do. But in order to achieve that type of consciousness, you have to be humble. And he was born humble. And he wouldn't even defend himself when they said, come on, manifest this, manifest that. Come on, we are your master. Come on. You're not going to do it? Okay, well then, we'll nail you to the cross. And he endured that. And then said, okay, how about if they said, okay, how about if we poke you with a spear? Then you can heal that. Come on, get yourself off the cross. So he just let it all slip away. Let his life slip away. They put him in a tomb. He rolled his consciousness back into his body, so he was spiritual, because he was right here, just not in this body. Pushed the stone back, which took quite a bit of muscle to get there. Walked out and said, hey, how y'all doing? That proved the point of not putting the illusion, no matter how much it hurts, first. Right? What comes first, happiness or success? Not success, no. You have to be happy with what you're going through and see the beauty in it. You have to be happy and see what you're going through as being the answer for what it is that you need to learn. What is it? Now that's tough because you can get drawn right into what you're experiencing. Oh, believe me, I know this. I have a PhD in getting drawn in. But you'll lose your power. And then once that's got its hold on you, you have to watch, because if you give away your life force while this is happening, that's called death. That can kill you. So true gratitude is about understanding what is happening to you and why. Why? You know, there's a reason why every day ends in a why. You know, we're supposed to be asking why. Why am I here? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I in this partnership with this person? They're supposed to be my best friend, but they never call it Christmas or birthdays. Well, why? Why? If you keep asking why enough, you're going to get down to what really is core. You're here to evolve. You're being tested in a sea of duality. And the idea is to go home and say, I was tested, I got immersed in it. And you know what? I rose above it. Was I perfect? No. Was Christ perfect? No. You know why? You know why they included the story of him grabbing those guys on the temple steps and rifling them off there, the money changers, to show that he had emotions, to show that he wasn't perfect. He held sacredness so high. You have to remember that life is a process, and you're not going to be perfect. It's a process. You're in process. You're in process to put your spirit first, no matter what. Can you do it? Well, you keep getting tested, like everyone here, until you get it. It's a sacred, sacred process, you know. It's a sacred process to find your purpose. Well, what's your purpose? Your purpose is to be connected with your divine, the great self, your spirit, in the face of duality and not lose it. That's your purpose. What you do for a living is second to that. But that's what your purpose is. So remember, you can't become enlightened. No, your oversoul gives you enlightenment, but you can't get enlightened without a huge amount of pain, uncomfortable, and inconvenience. It's all about you and I. I remember getting that, every morning I get up at about 4 or 4:30, and I'm fortunate because I live on the verge of a 500,000 acre park, and I go down and I sit by the river. And quite often I get tutored in silence while looking at the sky. And I remember a morning where I was taught about you and I. And I said, yeah, no, I know. You and I came into this world and you and I are going to leave. And the great self says, well, there's more to it than that. It's capital U and a capital I. And I go, oh, what's that? And the great self says, well, that's about being uncomfortable and inconvenience, because this life for most is about being uncomfortable and inconvenience. And once you know that it's not about uncomfortable and inconvenience at all, it's about a process, a test, perhaps, to put your spirit first, to create you out of it, because we were born to create. And for a lot of people, life is really uncomfortable and inconvenient. It's atrociously uncomfortable and inconvenient. And that's all they complain about what's wrong. Now, I know that wouldn't involve any of you guys. Nah, it had to be just me. It's a process. Life is a process that most would not prefer to achieve enlightenment. Well, instantly anyway. No, they're enjoying their complaints, their dramas. The size of your drama is the size of your act. Yeah, the size of your drama is the size of your act. Your act is your human. Life is a process that involves pain. Right from the first spank on your bottom, pain. And you go through life with various bouts of pain because you're uncomfortable and inconvenient until it's not. Life is uncomfortable and inconvenient until it's not. And pain is about PAY-IN. Maybe you're pay-in for the evolutionary experience of life. Maybe you're pay-in for the evolutionary experience of life. And experience is truth. Get that. There's so many nuggets here I hope that you're catching. Nuggets of truth. And again, this isn't my teaching. I'm just a copper wire. I'm just a humble copper wire. I didn't create this teaching. I don't own it. I don't. I just am a copper wire. Experience is truth. That's where arguments come in, is where somebody else's truth is different than your truth and different experiences. Right. But rule number one was coming here. If you remember from the other half of the sky, rule number one, go within, know thyself, make known the unknown, and create. That was rule number one. Go within, know thyself, make known the unknown, and create. We were born to create. You should be able to create your way out of the circumstances that you're in, understanding that life is paying. Have you paid enough? How much did you have to pay to get to this level of comprehension where, in fact, I'm teaching you? You did that through pain. It sharpens your senses, you know. Suffering is optional. Suffering is usually a bedfellow with drama. For a lot of people, they love to suffer because they need a story. They do. So many people come to me with their story. And I go, let's get past that. Come on. You don't want to stay there anyway. For most, they never find out or realize that life is a slow process of evolutionary opportunities. I'll say that again. For most, they never realize, never, that life is a series of evolutionary opportunities. Think about that. And this process is about understanding that one needs to create the space to become enlightened. You have to create the space. You do. See that sky? That space. What have I told you? Space is love and love is space. You know, the space between the center of the atom and the electron. You know, space between the Earth and other planets and the sun. That's space. Space is love. That's what holds it all together. You know, love has infinite organizing powers. It does. Hence, meditation, meditation, meditation. Eventually, you rise above the dualistic pollution that you carry with you in your head. You'll rise above it if you're properly taught how to do this. Could you imagine holding on to one thought and one thought only, and then ultimately thinking of nothing, i.e., the void, the sky, far sky? Could you imagine getting beyond all thoughts of all the pollution? Could you imagine slipping into the gap? The gap is between positive and negative in your life, all this stuff. The gap is right here. It helps you connect to the center, the spirit. Very few people can actually experience this. Even after they get educated, you got to get around the energy of this. The best type of energy for this is nature, or a teacher that'll teach you in the structure, like in a building, but says here, go here, right in the center. It's called the gap. You can connect here. Well, this is the start of peace. This is the start of a fertile imagination. This is the start of love. And love has infinite organizing powers. Remember that. It has infinite organizing powers. It's really up to you with regards to what you do, you know. This is your life. This is your life. Can you get that? Can you get all this? Can you? Not everyone can, you know. Not everyone can. If you're listening to this, chances are you're ready. You're ready. You can find me at the CFT.ca. Anytime, I'm there. The CFT.ca. Come and look at our courses. The best investment you're going to make is connecting with yourself. The teaching is open to anyone, but it's not for everyone. It's not. You got to be a serious student if you want me to teach you. And the truth will set you free. It really, really will. B1 is the best vitamin for life. Thank you, Layden. Neil, back to you.
Zayla, thank you so much,
You're
brother.
mute. You're muted.
Oh,
Neil.
can you hear me now? Yeah, my sound's coming through. It's working.
Oh, second, baby. I've got you muted here. Go ahead, Neil.
Brother, thank you so much. I was just having a lot of revelations, profound experiences with words that you were saying. I took notes, it's a rare thing for me to take notes, but the B1 was golden. But I just want to ask you, like, what is the process to get past our past, you know? And then just to add to that, how do we get to a point where the uncomfortableness becomes, we no longer need to experience that?
You have to remember that in order to get past the past, you have to understand that it was all purposeful. And you have to look for what it is that your oversoul was putting you through, the great self. What did you learn? You're not going to get past your past unless you come to the conclusion that this was purposeful. I can see the beauty in it, and thank you. Thank you. No matter how horrific it was, this is key. In order to free the past, free you from the past, to get you present where you can trigger the fertile imagination, you must get past your past. And that's all you do. You do that by being present with it. Presence, just everything falls apart in presence. So as you expand your presence, your past starts to go like this. You're no longer angry. You forgive. You forgive. One of the things I use in class, you'll love this, Neil. You get to the other half of the sky and tell people, and God will never forgive you for what you did here. People in the audience, just their hair gets blown back. And I said, I won't recant. And they go, really? I said, God will never forgive you. I'm telling you now. And I say, now listen to this. The reason God will never forgive you is because God never judged you.
I love that.
Judging is a human thing on this half of the sky. And most people go, oh my God, you're right. So I figure that if God doesn't judge me, what right do I have to judge anybody else?
Seriously.
Honest to God, it's an exercise in futility.
Yeah. Michelle, you want to jump in?
I have to say that I was deeply moved by a lot of those golden nuggets in there as well. And Neil, I was taking notes as well. So thank you. And just the beauty of the way that you, the cadence in your voice and the tone of your voice, the timbre, I could close my eyes and feel transmissions coming through the timbre of your voice. So thank you. I really appreciate what you shared today.
It's my pleasure. I mean, I am humbled. I'm just a copper wire. That's all I am. It's just a copper wire.
Very beautiful one, though. Very beautiful, shiny copper wire. In my humble opinion. But I really love what you said also about, let me correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt that what I was receiving was pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional.
Oh yeah. You're going to keep going over it because you want to suffer it. You want to create the drama. And I mean, what are you doing? You're giving up life force that at the end of your life, you're going to go, that was a waste of life. And that was a waste of absolute life, And so this is a little something. Have we got another 6 minutes?
Yeah, we'll have like 3 minutes, but go for it.
Okay, this is something that I recorded that I'll only play 3 minutes of.
Oh, say that one more time. I didn't hear that.
This is something I recorded. Can you hear it?
No, we can't.
You cannot hear it?
Nope. Are you playing it on your computer?
Yes.
So you need to share screen so we can hear it, and then click share sound.
Okay, just a second here. This is something that I guarantee you, if you were impressed with the first part of this, you'll be impressed with this note here.
Okay, so make sure you click share sound when you do it.
Share sound. Okay, let's see if I can do it now. Can you hear it?
No, you have to click share screen though at the bottom. So the green button that says share screen, share sound, and then select it. Do you see the share screen button right there?
Share screen button. waste anybody's time here. Okay, share screen.
Any luck?
No, I don't think so.
Yep, there we go.
No, that's not it. It's not it. I can't share my screen with it. I thought it could come over this, but it can't. Perhaps we'll do another time. It's a recording that I went to the studio, and it's about the transition, about your life. And it's about how you best take advantage of what it is, the peace that's provided to you while you're here. So the opportunities can melt away as you are complete with the other side, because you might be finished with something, but you're not complete until the emotional charge is complete. It's flat. You are really, you may be finished with that person, place, thing, time, event, but you're not complete if you still have emotion. So that's where you get freedom. And the idea is to get that before you transcend.
Right.
That sounds very vital to where we are right now for many, many people. And if there's a way that you could share maybe a link, if you have it on YouTube or something like that, that would.
Or even an email address, however they can connect to get
Yeah,
that.
they can connect with you and you can play it for our audience.
And anytime anybody wants to hear it, they can just come to me, and if I'll get a cluster and I'll play it, because I use it for private use, because it requires a little preempt as to who I am before.
Yeah.
But this is as beautiful as you've heard the cuts by Brother David. This is as beautiful as Brother David's cuts.
Come to breakfast tomorrow and Zalah will play it. That's what Layden said.
Okay, I'll play it tomorrow at breakfast. You bet. I mean,
Right.
I guarantee you it'll bring tears to you. It will bring tears. You will hear something that you didn't hear before, and you'll know that it's soul to soul that's being taught to you.
Zalah, brother, thank you so much for your energy and transmission. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Pleasure to meet you both.
Take care.
I'm here.
Take care. God bless.